Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. There's another paid request this time for Broad Stipe. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, reviews, re-reviews, commentaries, rankings, news, whatever, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for the Nicolas Cage film Rage, also known as Tokarev. Tokarev? I can't remember. It's the name of a gun. That is a part of the story of this, but I think more people don't know this as Rage. Rage in the Cage with Nick Cage. I wish. This film sucked. I just don't be blunt. This film was fucking awful. Nicolas Cage, I've said, of the direct-to-video people, he's the guy who intrigues me more than others because he'll do something like a Mandy or a Willy's Wonderland that at least seem a bit interesting, but then he'll do something like this that just lame, boring, dull, at times very poorly acted, has a really stupid fucking ending that's trying to say something deep. It's about as deep as my dick. And the plot for the most part is pretty straightforward. Nick Cage, he had a criminal past. He now has his teenage daughter. He's a businessman. He's got a new wife. Nick Cage and his wife goes out while his daughter hangs out with two of her friends. Danny Glover plays a police officer. He pretty much there to tell with his face, I'm too old for this shit. He doesn't say that, but he says it with his face. I love Danny Glover. You see, I love Danny Glover. I love Danny Glover. But anybody could have played this role. That's what I'm getting at. Anybody could have played this role. If he has more than 7 minutes of screen time, I would be surprised. He says, hey, I'm sorry to bother you guys at dinner, but your daughter's been abducted. Nick Cage gets two buddies from his past. The three of them go out to find info on what happened to the daughter. How deep do you want this to go? How deep is hell? I actually don't mind that line of dialogue. I wish it was in a better movie. It may be generic or whatever people want to call it, but sometimes lines like that I'm a sucker for. I'm fine with as long as it's utilized the right way. In a better movie. And then these characters, I don't know why we're supposed to like these fucking characters. Nick Cage, he has this weird fucking haircut that is a character of its own. There are times he's either very boring, and then there's one moment where he goes Nick Cage Rage, or he has this sort of look on his face, like, huh? Huh? Like the fucking, like the things up here, I don't even know how he did it. And his two buddies, like they try to talk to this person to get info. They torture. The guy has this, jaunty girl, but she's innocent. She's on hard times. They take the girl in front of the boyfriend or whatever, wrap a rope around her neck, attach a rope to a cinder block, toss out a window. He finally, I don't, she's choking, fine, then one of the two guys shoots it. Then as they walk off, they go, man, I can't believe I shot that rope. What, you're too old? Why should we give a shit about these folks? Fuck them. From that's early in the film. I'm like, I hope they die. They're pieces of shit. Peter Stormare, he was the devil in Constantine. He was in 8mm. He's been in a lot of other stuff. He's here in a wheelchair, who's a former friend of Nick Cage. But he's trying to have, I guess, an Irish accent. It doesn't work. It doesn't work, his Irish accent. Whatever the fuck he was doing. So the three search for info. Danny Glover and the other cops find a gun and is linked to the Russian mafia. Word gets back to Nick Cage and his two buddies, and then they go from A to B to C trying to get info. That's most of the rest of the film. And you get piss poor, shaky action sequences, because I don't know what the director was doing with this. Nick Cage has his knife, and there's a point he's fighting people with the handle of his knife. He finally slices someone. There's a very laughable scene, but it's not supposed to be laughable, where he's run after a guy, and the guy's been wounded. He's trying to get info, and then the guy's slipping away, and then Nick Cage's like, "Don't die! Don't die!" And he's slamming the guy's head to the ground. "Don't die! Don't die! Who did it? Who did it? Ah!" It's like, this guy's dying, and you're hitting his head against the fucking ground. Does that go help your cause? Who did it? Who did it? Stop! There's another bit where there's a firefight, and that's where you get the part in the trailer. If you see the trailer where he's on his back, he has a shotgun and a gun. He shoots one, then shoots the other. You get a very poorly edited, confusing car chase. Because I don't know what this director has done, but he does not have a good handle on action. He doesn't. Danny Glover, he pops every once in a while to say a line like, "Got a rap sheet as long as my dick." Okay, good for you. Any other info? Even Nick Cage's character comes off as a fucking idiot. And most of the film is just dull, it's boring, and there's not much to talk about. Of the three, one gets caught and beaten up by this Russian mobster guy who, he was a taxi driver and A Good Day to Die Hard. For those who remember that movie, or just watch the trailer. You watch the trailer, the cab driver's like, "Welcome to Russia," and says hi to John McClane. That guy is the Russian mobster guy in this movie. He seemed like he could be fine, but he's not given much screen time. And pretty much the Cage's buddy is tied up and beaten to death. Because I guess back in the day, the three of them, when they were very young, they robbed this Russian guy and killed him, and it happens to be this Russian mobster's brother. And so Nick Cage thought it was retaliation, but they didn't know that until you guys said anything. And then Nick Cage thinks his buddy turned on him, which wasn't the case. So then Nick Cage kills his buddy. He doesn't seem that sorry about it either. Well, he stabbed the guy's dying, then Nick Cage's like, "Get up, man. Get up." And then he kneels down and puts his head next to him, but he's not like crying, or "I'm sorry," or any of the sort. Peter Stormare gets killed in his wheelchair. And then Nick Cage finds out what happened as we get the ending. Spoiler alert. I need a drink for this. What, you want to know what really happened? I'll tell you what really happened. This kind of clinched the deal with how shitty this film is. Which some people may like because it tried to do something different, but it wasn't successful in what it was trying to do. If you're trying to have this... okay. Come to find out, his daughter and the two kids, they got drunk. They found a stash of Nick Cage's guns. And they were out in the rain, drunk, playing around with the guns. One kid accidentally turned and shot the daughter in the face. And then they hid, they covered it up. So Nick Cage did all this for nothing. He did all this for nothing. He killed his buddy for nothing. And he's not even filled with sorrow about that. Like, hey Mo, you do remember this guy killed his buddy, like, 10 minutes ago? And the guy was innocent? Did you have Nick Cage have a moment of, like, a reflection on that? No. He finds the kid, and the kid's, I'm sorry. And then Nick Cage lets the kid go. And even when they showed the flashback of the kid accidentally shooting the girl in the face, I laughed. I laughed because I went, wow, this is so fucking stupid. You know what it reminded me of? You ever seen Harold and Kumar go to White Castle? You ever seen the fake drug commercial? Where they're watching TV and the two kids, I'm so high. Look at this gun. And the one kid's like, no. That's what it reminded me of. And if you're trying to do this deep message movie about your past catches up to you, this film didn't succeed because before it, there's nothing really that deep about its proceedings in terms of story, plot, characterizations. When you make a fairly dull action movie, and then you think you're some higher upper echelon of talent in your third act, it just comes off as stupid and pretentious. Then Nick Cage sits on the bed, the Russians have come for him, they kill him off camera, and then during the end credits, it's the cops taking the body down to body bag while the wife is outside. And then the movie's over. And that's rage. I mean, so even if you did like Nick Cage's character, you'd be pissed at the ending. But I didn't give a shit about any of the characters, so I wasn't pissed. It's like, really? That's what we're doing? Uh-huh. Well, yeah, the other way would have been more typical, but would have been more consistent in the tone of this film than what it tried to do here. And again, Danny Glover's wasted in nothing role. Nick Cage gives a fairly poor performance. The other actors I didn't give a shit about. The action at times is dull, unexciting, shaky cam, a car chase that's very poorly edited, confusing. It was just boring. It was a boring movie. That's why I know some of my friends don't like Mom and Dad. I like Mom and Dad because I like what it tried to do. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was different. I liked Mom and Dad with Nick Cage. I like Mandy. I like Willy's Wonderland. I like when Nick Cage goes into that different pasture. This, he's not as bored like Bruce Willis. He's not as inept as Steven Seagal. But it seemed like Nick Cage, this was just more of a paycheck movie. And there are times where he's trying to show energy. Again, his performance is not as bad as, again, Bruce Willis' slate of recent performances or Steven Seagal's last 20 movies. But whether it's the director or the script, did not do him any favors. And again, it just seemed like, okay, I'm getting paid, I'll do this. I mean, I would rather watch that one film, it has its flaws, but pay the ghost. It has its flaws. The third act has some pretty clunky special effects, but pay the ghost, where his kid, Nick Cage's kid, they're out trick-or-treat on Halloween, he turns, his kid has disappeared, and then a year or two later, him and his wife are trying to find out what happened to the kid, and it deals with this other dimension, and I actually didn't mind it. Again, it's not great. It has some generic frights that it's trying to do, and I'm looking over there because the DVD's over there. And again, the effects are not the best at the end because they didn't have the budget, but I didn't mind Nick Cage in it, but I actually liked the story, like the concept of what it was telling story-wise. I actually didn't mind it, and the ending, if I overlooked the effects, I actually liked the idea of the ending. I don't know how else to put it without giving it away, but yeah, that's definitely a film that needed more of a budget, but I'd rather watch that film than this. And it's not a great film. It's probably like a maybe 3. Yeah, probably like a 3 out of 5 or something. But better than this. It'd be like a 1. Because I did nothing out of it. I really did nothing out of it. So with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye bye.